finance system. That's what we're talking about. We have to be honest about it. And it is undermining American democracy. When extraordinarily wealthy people make very large contributions to super PACs, and in many cases in this campaign, super PACs have more money, have raised more money than individual candidates have. Okay? We had a decision to make early on. Do we do a super PAC? And we said no. We don't represent Wall Street. We don't represent the billionaire class, so it ends up I'm the only candidate up here, of the many candidates, who has no super PAC. But what we did is we said to the working families of this country, look, we know things are tough, but if you want to help us, go beyond establishment politics and establishment economics. Send us something. And it turned out that up until this point, this has blown me away. Never in a million years would I have believed that I'd be standing here tonight telling you that we have received 3.5 million individual contributions from well over 1 million people. Now, Secretary Clinton's super PAC, as I understand it, received $25 million last reporting period, $15 million from Wall Street. Our average contribution is $27. I'm very proud of that.
Well, let me just respond. Senator Sanders, are you saying
you're mixing apples and oranges? My 750,000 donors have contributed more than $1.5 million donations. I'm very proud. That, I think, between the two of us demonstrates the strength of the support we have among people who want to see change in our country. But the real issue that I think the senator is injecting into this is that if you had a super PAC like President Obama had, which now says it wants to support me, it's not my PAC. If you take donations from Wall Street, you can't be independent. I would just say I debated then Senator Obama numerous times on stages like this. And he was the recipient of the largest number of Wall Street donations of anybody running on the Democratic side ever. Now, when it mattered, he stood up and took on Wall Street. He pushed through and he passed the Dodd-Frank regulation, the toughest regulations since the 1930s. So let's not in any way imply here that either President Obama or myself would in any way not take on any vested interest, whether it's Wall Street or drug companies or insurance companies or frankly the gun lobby, to stand up to do what's best for the American people.
Let's not insult the intelligence of the American people. People aren't dumb. Why in God's name does Wall Street make huge campaign contributions? I guess just for the fun of it, they want to throw money around. Why does the pharmaceutical industry make huge campaign contributions? Any connection, maybe, to the fact that our people pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs? Why does the fossil fuel industry spend huge amounts of money on campaign contributions? Any connection to the fact that not one Republican candidate for president thinks and agrees with the scientific community that climate change is real and that we have got to transform our energy system? And when we talk about Wall Street, let's talk about Wall Street. I voted for Dodd-Frank, got an important amendment in it. My view, it doesn't go anywhere near far enough. But when we talk about Wall Street, you have Wall Street and major banks have paid $200 billion in fines since the Great Crash. No Wall Street executive has been prosecuted.
All right, well, let's just follow up on this because, you know, I've made it very clear that no bank is too big to fail, no executive too powerful to jail, and because of Dodd-Frank, we now have in law a process that the President, the Federal Reserve, and others can use if any bank poses a systemic risk. I think that's a major accomplishment. I agree, however, it doesn't go far enough because What it focuses on are the big banks, which Senator Sanders has talked about a lot for good reason. I go further in the plan that I've proposed, which has been called the toughest, most effective comprehensive plan for reining in the other risks that the financial system could face. It was an investment bank, Lehman Brothers, that contributed to our collapse. It was a big insurance company, AIG. It was Countrywide Mortgage. My plan would sweep all of them into a regulatory framework so we can try to get ahead of what the next problems might be. And I believe that not only Barney Frank, Paul Krugman, and others have said that what I have proposed is the most effective. It goes in the right direction. We have Dodd-Frank. We can use it to break up the banks if that's appropriate. But let's not kid ourselves. As we speak, there are new problems on the horizon. I want to get ahead of those, and that's why I proposed a much more comprehensive approach to deal with
We have to go to a break. One second.
Let me, again, respectfully disagree with Secretary Clinton here. When you have 3 out of the 4 largest financial institutions in this country bigger today than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail, when you have 6 financial institutions having assets equivalent to 58% of the GDP of America, right, issuing 2/3 of the credit cards and 1/3 of the mortgages. Look, I think if Teddy Roosevelt were alive today, that great trust buster would have said, break them up. I think he would have been right. I think he would have said, bring back a 21st century Glass-Steagall legislation. I think that would have been right as well. That's my view.
Thank you both. It is time for a break.